Mr. Bomboclat! Just his name sent shivers of excitement down the spines of students. Not shivers of fear, mind you. Shivers of pure, unadulterated anticipation. He wasn't your average run-of-the-mill math teacher droning on about equations. Oh no, Mr. Bomboclat was different. He was a whirlwind of energy, a human calculator with a mischievous twinkle in his eye. Rumors swirled around him like numbers on a chalkboard after a good shake. They said he could solve quadratic equations in his sleep. They said he once ate a whole pie just to prove a point. Whether the stories were true or not, one thing was certain. Math class with Mr. Bomboclat was an adventure. The moment he stepped into the classroom, the air crackled with electricity. He'd burst in, a whirlwind of enthusiasm, and bellow, "Greetings, my mathematical minions," in a voice that could rival a lion's roar. From that moment on, you were no longer just a student, but a fellow explorer in the magical world of numbers. Mr. Bomboclat believed that math wasn't something to be feared, but something to be embraced. And he had a knack for making even the most complex concepts seem as easy as pie. Literally. One day, he decided to teach fractions by bringing in a mountain of pies. Apple, blueberry, cherry, you name it. He divided the class into teams and challenged them to figure out who could eat the most pie, representing their answers as fractions. The classroom descended into a sugary chaos, with laughter and pie crumbs flying everywhere. But by the end of the lesson, every student understood fractions. Another time, he turned the classroom into a giant game board to teach coordinates. Students became pieces, navigating their way through a maze of desks and chairs, solving equations to determine their next move. It was loud, it was chaotic, and it was absolutely brilliant. Mr. Bomboclat had a way of making you feel like you were part of something special, like you were in on a secret that only the coolest kids knew. He'd often say, "Math is the language of the universe?" And you know what? He actually made you believe it. He'd jump on tables, draw diagrams on the ceiling, even break into spontaneous jigs to explain a particularly tricky theorem. He was like a one-man show, and his enthusiasm was infectious. Soon, even the most math-phobic students were finding themselves drawn into his world. They were asking questions, participating in discussions, and even, dare they say it, enjoying themselves. Mr. Bomboclat had a way of making math cool. But perhaps the most memorable example of Mr. Bomboclat's unique teaching style was the day he decided to teach the Pythagorean theorem. Instead of simply writing the formula on the board and calling it a day, he organized a Pythagoras party parade. Students were tasked with creating costumes and floats representing different aspects of the theorem. There were right triangles strutting their stuff, squares doing the conga line, and even a giant equation made entirely of cupcakes.